Hey everyone, welcome back to Elevator Pitch. My name's Cody.
I'm Tim. Welcome back. Rickety elevator. You know the deal. It's an elevator. We hit the stop open button. You're gonna get on it. We're gonna have a good time. That's it. That's all I'm gonna do this week.
Okay, that was mild.
Yeah.
All right, I appreciate that. You know?
Last time I did it, right, and we did like a 2-hour podcast afterwards. So I feel like we might do another hour and a half. So I'm trying to keep it a little bit more on the low key.
That's fair.
But I'm still gonna do it every week.
That's fair. But yeah, welcome to Elevator Pitch. This is the podcast where Tim and I pitch new movies, TV shows, video games, spinoffs, you name it, to existing and new franchises. Today, we're covering a topic, or I don't know if it's a topic. We're covering a franchise that is what's the best word? It is sensitive. It's a sensitive
controversial in some ways.
We're gonna be pitching our ideas for shows set in the Wizarding World universe, based around the concept of the Aurors. The Harry Potter Wizarding World. So we understand that there are several people, quite a few, that cannot separate that world from She Who Must Not Be Named. I get that. We respect that. We just ask that you respect the fact that we can. The world is bigger to us than the person that happened to write it.
And a lot of people have taken over it from her in some aspects. You know, obviously that person is still compensated in ways that is true. But she's almost not involved in anything anymore.
Yeah, at this point, we have our own personal feelings and we won't get into it. It's just we can separate the world from her and we still actively enjoy that universe. And so we're going to pitch shows based on that universe. If this is not the episode for you, that's totally fine. You're not going to hurt our feelings. We'll see you in the next episode.
Just please don't land blast us for doing it.
Yeah, like, and if you do, that's fine. All I'd say is, this doesn't support her in any way. You know what I mean?
We're not even making money off of this.
We're not making money off this, and this is literally just fan fiction based on a world that.
So I was real talk. I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, me and Cody's podcast is essentially we just sit down and write fan fiction every week.
100%, 100%.
You've taken what people do on like blogs and just made it into a podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so that's all we'll go there. Just know that we appreciate you regardless, and
we respect
everybody.
Me and Cody also have a stream.
Yes.
We also have a Discord. We like to have a safe place for everybody to feel like they can be themselves.
Yes.
So we just also like Harry Potter a lot.
Yeah, that is what it is. And again, it's just we separate that from her, and if you can't, that's totally fine. So that being said, we are pitching horror shows set in the Harry Potter world and the Wizarding universe.
If you don't know what an Auror is or haven't read Harry Potter, or they kind of briefly touch on Aurors and Fantastic Beasts and the original Harry Potter movie themselves. Not so much the Harry Potter movies and books as in the books. I don't think he mentions it in the movie, but in the books, Harry wants to become an Auror.
Yeah, I don't think they ever touch on it in the movies.
If they do, it's very, very briefly. But that's his aspiration in the whole books is to become an Auror, and essentially an Auror is the magical equivalent of somebody that battles dark wizards. They're kind of like pseudo police.
They are. They're Wizarding police.
in a sense, like in a very, very basic nutshell, they
Yeah.
battle dark wizards, which in the Harry Potter world is they're the police.
Well, he I think it's the epilogue. It's either the epilogue or the Cursed Child. I can't remember, but he does become the head of the wizarding law enforcement.
Yeah, and so speaking of which, like we do in this podcast, everything that's happened that has been deemed canonical by She Who Must Not Be Named,
And Warner
is
Brothers.
Warner Brothers is canonical. So the Cursed Child is canonical. The Fantastic Beasts movies are canonical. Whatever happened in Hogwarts Legacy is canonical. If it plays off in any way, I don't know what your pitch is going to revolve around.
Mine's set in like modern day, like 2023.
So anyway, all that stuff is canonical. So whether you think the Cursed Child or the Fantastic Beasts movies should be canonical, they are.
And I haven't seen the play, and I haven't read the screenplay.
I read the book. I've read the screenplay.
Yeah,
I thought the screenplay was actually pretty good. I don't know why people hated it on it.
It's probably because it was a screenplay, and people don't want to read screenplays.
Probably, but I liked it, and it had to do with time travel and stuff, and I like time travel. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
So it almost felt like the person who wrote A Cursed Child was writing fan fiction when you read it.
Well, it was co-written by She Who Must Not Be Named, and I think one or two other people.
Okay. I mean, it was good. I enjoyed it. If you haven't read the screenplay, I would give it a go. It's not like if I was rereading the series, I wouldn't reread A Cursed Child again. But like having read it and knowing what happens, I was like, that's pretty cool that they did that.
Yeah, I think I've got it. I don't know, maybe one day. But anyway, yeah, I think in a nutshell, Aurors are magical detectives.
Yeah,
they fight dark wizards, but like I feel like just given context, dark wizards is essentially any wizard that breaks the law.
Yeah, I mean, in the Harry Potter books, it's like the evil forces, but it's really
those are the people that break the law.
But an Auror, like they're the police. They go after like ordinary wizards that are breaking the law. Kind of thing.
They're the ones that arrest people and book them.
Send them to Azkaban.
Yeah.
Well, they don't send them to Azkaban. They get tried.
Yeah, they get tried, and you know, I'm sure that there are lesser prisons other than Azkaban. Like I'm sure there's like a county jail. You know what I mean? Like, they are in effect wizarding.
Welcome
police.
to the Hogsmeade County Jail.
Yeah.
Can I go get them Weasley boys again? Sorry.
As far as I know, from my research into the epilogue of Harry Potter, Harry becomes the head of the wizarding law enforcement. Ron becomes an Auror. And
no, so it doesn't happen. Not in A Cursed Child.
It doesn't happen?
No, so Harry becomes. So here's what happens because it's gonna revolve around my pitch. So I'll tell you what happens to them in A Cursed Child.
Okay.
Harry becomes a head Auror.
Oh no, I got Ron wrong. He became an Auror, but then he left to work with George, right?
Yeah. So Harry's the head Auror. If Ron became an Auror, he doesn't mention it a whole lot, but he leaves to run the Wizarding Family Weasleys or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Hermione becomes the Minister of Magic.
So from what I saw was that Hermione went to work for the Department of Regulation and Control of Magical Creatures. She later became deputy head of the Department of Magical Law Enforcement. So she was like underneath Harry. And then she worked closely with the Kingsley Shacklebolt, who was a minister until like 2018 or 19. And then I guess became minister.
She becomes the Minister of Magic.
Okay.
In A Cursed Child, she's the Minister of Magic. Okay. So it is canonical that she becomes the Minister of Magic.
Okay.
And that's important to my pitch. So.
Okay, cool. So
anyway, go ahead, Cody. You with your pitch, yeah.
So before I get into my pitch, I somewhat screwed up careers. We're just gonna assume that like while Ron works at Weasley's Wizard Wheezes, I hate that name with every fiber of my being. Weasley's Wizard Wheezes.
I hated that in the book too. I was like, that's a.
I have dyslexia, and it's like that is the worst. Okay, so, we're just gonna work in that he still does the odd job for Harry.
Okay. He's like a PI.
Yeah, he's like a PI on his off time.
He's a PA. He's a private or.
Yeah, because he's in my final battle.
That's cool, dude. Hey, whatever you want to do with it.
But okay. So here is my Auror
I mean,
show.
let's be real here. If Harry needed him, he'd come.
He'd come, right? Like,
yeah, he'd come.
Okay, so I'm doing an Auror show as if HBO was doing it, because they would be the ones to do it.
Because
Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers, yeah.
I figured it'd be like an 8-episode series or season, probably an hour long episodes, the typical HBO show. So I can't tell you how, before I get in, I tried so hard not to do like a silly episode, and I was just gonna go into like this deep thing, and then all of a sudden be like, and then the 24 clock starts counting down. But I didn't do it. So the show opens. You see a series of suicide bombings, but in air quotes. Like you see people run into buildings with like vests, and then massive explosions, and it happens all around the UK. As these happens, the camera pans out into like a CIA station, and there's an agent watching the news with a bunch of other agents and analysts, whatnot, and then you hear an explosion in the distance, followed by like the building shaking.
Yeah.
So the agent runs out. It's revealed that it's Adam Driver.
Oh, Adam Driver. Okay.
I like Adam Driver. He rushes out of the DC field office to see what's going on, and he sees smoke rising from a building like across the street a little bit. So he rushes over, and he's he's looking around to see if he can help anyone. He's looking for anyone suspicious. I mean, he's a CIA agent.
Yeah.
And we're gonna say, like, as he's looking around, the camera sort of pulls away, and you see like it to sort of reveal a person standing on a rooftop looking down at the situation. And like as he's like turning and looking, right before he gets to like where this guy would be in his eye line, maybe he's like just in peripheral, he apparates away.
Okay.
The guy on the roof. And Adam just like, I didn't give him a name. Adam just looks at the roof like, was there somebody standing there?
Yeah.
Like, I swear I just saw it. Okay, and so then we'll cut to like the epic HBO opening, like the Game of Thrones style, like crazy, ridiculous 3D animated opening thing.
Yeah.
So then it goes back to the office. Adam's looking through the like CCTV in the area to see if he can see anything from the bombing. Mm-hmm. And to his surprise, he sees a glimpse of the bomber. He sees a glimpse of his face in a reflection, and it's Kit Harington.
Oh.
Okay. He quickly finds the footage from the he sees his face, and then he's sort of like stunned for a second, and then like because anytime like there's like a cop show and they're like onto something, they don't ever vocalize it, they just like start doing shit.
Yeah.
So he's like frozen for a second, and then he just starts frantically like searching for footage from the other bombings, and it takes him a second, but he finds one of the footage from the UK, one of the UK bombings, one in particular, because the bomber looked at a camera before walking into the building.
Okay.
And he finds it, and it's Kit Harington.
Okay.
So he takes it to his boss, who is Lawrence Fishburne. And he's intrigued by this. He gives him the case and tells him to find a connection. He's like, his guess is twins.
Yeah.
And he's like, I wonder if this is like a family vendetta against something, or maybe it's just a coincidence that there's two twins and they just happen to be part of the same cause or whatever. He's like, most of the bombings have been in London, so head to MI5 and meet up with our liaison there.
Yeah.
So cut to him walking into the MI5 building, and he meets up with Simon Pegg, because I like Simon Pegg and he's always wanted to be in something Harry Potter related. Obviously he's in the latest game.
Yeah.
But on camera, Simon Pegg. They go over everything each other knows. He lets Adam know that there's like, they just got a lead on a potential UK and US target. So he calls his boss, lets him know what's going on, and he goes to investigate the UK target. Mm-hmm. As he's walking down the street to the area, he sees Kit Harington.
Yeah.
Who like looks him dead in the eye. And there's sort of like a head tilt from Kit Harington, like, huh, you're that same guy. And then he walks into the building, and Adam runs after him, and then like the building explodes.
Okay.
And so like Adam's knocked back like 3 feet or whatever from the blast, and he sort of gets up and he's looking around, and he sees Kit Harington down the road. And this time, Kit Harington just looks at him, smiles, gives him a wink, and then apparates right in front of him. Just apparates away. So Adam's like, thinks he's kind of going crazy because he just took a blast. Gets up, runs down there, and he turns like the alleyway. And like as he does, a witch just apparates in front of him. He's freaked out, stumbles and falls down, and actually no, sorry, that's the beginning of that. When Kit Harington apparates away, it's the end of the first episode. Okay. Sorry. So episode 2 picks up right there. So he runs down there, the witch apparates in front of him, and it's Teresa Palmer is who I cast in this role.
Who's that?
She was in I Am Number 4. She was in the zombie movie. Was it Warm Bodies? Mm-hmm. The one where the zombie like falls in love and becomes a real person.
That's Warm Bodies. Yeah.
I really like her as an actress, and I haven't seen her in a whole lot. So I cast her. He stumbles back, and she's like, "Ah, shit!" Grabs him and apparates away with him.
Okay.
And so like they end up on like a really high end like rooftop, like a really up there. She starts pacing around, weighing her options, like, do I apparate him? Like maybe he saw something. He kind of collects himself and pulls his gun out because he's a CIA agent. Mm-hmm. And she whips around just in time to disarm him and then stuns him. She rumbles through his clothes to figure out, like, who's this guy? Why does he have a gun? Sees that he's a CIA agent and is like, okay, an American Muggle intelligence agent, like a bit far from home, huh? Yeah. And then she's like, she explains, like, essentially she's like explaining the existence of magic to him. Like, yeah. I need you to calm down. Like, yes, you're stunned. Magic's a thing. I'm a witch.
Yeah. But let's get past that.
Let's get past this. My protocol dictates that I should obliviate you. And so to him, he's like, oh my God, she's gonna like obliterate me. Like she's gonna kill me. And she's like, it just means wipe your memory. And she explains like the statute of secrecy and how she could lose her job. She could even be sent to Azkaban for allowing him to keep his memories. But you could be used to her case because she's working the same case. Yeah. Because the wizards obviously know that this is a wizard carrying out the attacks. Yeah. They're smarter than that. Yeah. I also need to squeeze in some kind of like exposition of like, I want to center this whole show around the idea that like the statute of secrecy has never been closer to being broken in history than like right now. And like to the point where like even like Hermione as the minister is like weighing her options, because obviously the minister and the prime minister, the Muggle prime minister, have a relationship. They know each other. They know each other exists. Yeah. And there's been more conversations than ever between the two of like, I don't think we can maintain the secrecy anymore.
Like eventually it's going to come out.
Eventually it's just going to come out. The question is...
And I believe that absolutely, like even in the Harry Potter series, they're like, this is probably gonna happen.
This is probably going to happen at some point. Like, those movies and those books took place in the 1900s, which I hate saying so much. They took place in the late 90s. God, I hate that.
They took place in the late 90s. Like, it was like 98 when Harry Potter ends.
Yeah.
Like, so when the Battle of Hogwarts happens, like 98.
97, I think. 97, 98.
Yeah.
So cell phones weren't really a thing.
No.
Which is why a lot of people were like, well, why don't they just use, like cell phones to talk to each other? Because texting wasn't a thing.
Nope.
The internet,
cell phones weren't a thing.
Internet 2000, guys. Yeah. Like, that was the whole Y2K. So we're now at the point of like, this is 2023. People have cell phones.
And I totally believe that, like, the wizarding community would adapt some form of technology, especially the Auror community.
So I'm also running with the idea that, like, the whole idea that, like, kids going to Hogwarts now don't have cell phones is absurd. Like, the idea of, like, so I think Hogwarts is probably like one of the only places that still uses owls for any kind of traditional newsletters.
I feel like if there's any place that would, like, have terrible cell reception, it would probably be Hogwarts, though.
So, like, they have, but again, it's magic. They can probably just magic up cell reception.
Probably.
So but I'm
not getting the nuances of cell reception.
We're not doing that.
We're not gonna have an argument over you can text at Hogwarts.
Anyway, they use modern technology, and that's also like the idea. So, like, this is just where we'll get exposition from her to Adam. She'll unfreeze him and be like, I'm gonna unfreeze you, you need to chill. And then explain the whole statute and all that stuff, and how, like, they're worried that it's gonna drop any day, and they're trying to mitigate that fallout, because it will be a disaster. Whenever that news breaks, it will be a shit show, even if it came from them. But like, this terrorist,
like, the minute they're like, hey, wizards are real.
Yeah. So this terrorist group, she explains, is a mixed bag of wizards, goblins, and muggles.
Oh, okay.
So, like, they're utilizing what wizards won't, which is other groups. And it's working for them, but they're also, like, they're exposing a lot.
Yeah.
But, like, this group is essentially just trying to start, at least the way the wizards see it, is they're trying to start a criminal empire. And so they're trying to take it down, and they're using these, like, suicide bombings as distractions to rob banks and stuff.
Yeah.
Because if all the authorities are focused on these explosions, then there's nobody caring about the banks, and there's less eyes.
Yeah.
So we'll get all that. And then she explains that she is an Auror, and she is working the same case essentially that he is. And she thinks that between the two of them, if they work together, they can probably achieve a little bit more, because she didn't catch that it was the same guy. Like, they didn't know that.
Yeah.
But he did, a muggle. So she's like, you're useful to me. All right. So for the next, like, 6 episodes, again, because I'm not writing 8 episodes, guys, it's not happening. So for the next, like, 6 episodes, they take down cells of mixed muggle, wizard, goblin terrorists, and, you know, we'll learn about the advancement of wizard kind, their acceptance of technology, again, more about the statute being closer to breaking, and how, you know, this group is taking advantage of it, because while most of the Aurors are focused on obliviating people, because, like, more and more, like, dumbass kids are flying their brooms around, and like it's a problem. Like, real world issues are causing this to be fractured.
Yeah.
This group is using that chaos to rob banks, R&D facilities, both muggle and wizard kind, for weaponry and who knows what.
The nickery.
Yeah. I know it's cliche. They're gonna fall in love throughout this season.
No.
They're gonna fall in love throughout the season, because I just like the idea of wizards and muggles, and like it's just great.
I mean, hey, wizards and muggles have fallen in love before. There's half-bloods out there all the time.
Yeah. So, it'll probably culminate into like a big love scene like moment in like episode 6 or something.
Yeah. Like, oh my god, I love you so much, but you're Adam Driver, so once I kiss you, you're gonna fade away.
You're gonna fade away into nothing.
Sorry, wrong franchise.
So we'll see interactions between our two main characters with Harry, because he is her boss.
Yeah.
But because it's Harry, he's almost immediately understanding that she is working with him. And can immediately
like it's one of those things where he doesn't have to be told it.
No,
like,
he doesn't have to be told. He probably clocks that they're into each other before they do. Because
now that Harry's in like his final form, he's just ultimate. No, he just knows it all.
Knows. They'll meet up with Hermione. Harry will call Ron and be like, "Hey man, I need your help. It's all hands on deck right now."
You gotta do that thing where it's like, "Don't worry, I got my ace up my sleeve." And then like at the end of the episode, like Ron runs in.
But pot-bellied AF.
Oh yeah, dude, and bald.
He let himself go. Yeah. Like we're talking.
He's been running a joke shop for the last year and a half.
And Hermione's like, "Why do you want Ron in this? Because they're married." And he's like, "We need all hands," and it's Ron. And
That's my boy, yo. That's my boy.
Ron shows
up. He tries to put on like the old Auror suit, and it's just a little tight.
It's a little too tight. It's a little too tight. We'll get a glimpse of Ginny, but she's not an Auror. She'll be there. She'll be there, like helping out in the office.
Yeah,
just like healing people and like taking care of like refugees and stuff like that. Like she's doing like humanitarian stuff.
This is what they don't talk about a lot, and I don't mean to side tangent right here, but they don't talk about this a lot in the books, and they actually don't mention it at all in the movies. Hermione, so it's brought up in Pottermore, and Pottermore first came out. Hermione was the cleverest witch in Harry's year. Ginny was the most powerful.
Yes, she was. So I think the idea of like Ginny doing humanitarian work essentially and like repairing the damaged buildings.
I'm here for it. Yeah. Here for it.
And giving aid to people and then obliviating them. And, like she's on loan. Like she's just,
Hey guys. I'm here.
The kids are all with, Grandpa Weasley's. I don't know. They're all, they're somewhere. I'm assuming they're still alive. I don't know. They'd be old. So we do all that. I think at somewhere around like episode 6, we get a meeting, like Harry and Teresa and Hermione all apparate to the States with Adam, and they talk to Lawrence Fishburne and the like American president of magic, which I didn't cast. I'm just gonna. It's Bryan Cranston. Why not?
I love it, dude. Absolutely, Bryan Cranston for everything.
And so they have like a very closed door meeting about how like the existence of wizards, and like there's like we're not gonna get like the whole explanation again. Like we'll just like sort of like
touch on it.
We'll cut away to like
we need to tell you guys something, and then like the door shuts.
And then you'll just see like Adam and Teresa just like talking about something, and then they'll come out and be like, okay, you guys can come back in or whatever. And then like Lawrence Fishburne's just like, woof, like, okay. And all right. And I think Mr. President will just be like, this is a lot. And like I'll go talk to the wizarding president, or not the wizarding president, the muggle president.
Yeah.
To what I was saying, there's sort of like a moment where Bryan Cranston as the wizarding president is like, I'll go talk to President blah blah blah, and let him know that we're going to be working together more than usual over this situation. And for now, the statute is like expanding a little, so like they're like cooperating with some obviously muggle intelligence, but like legitimately, not just Adam Driver. Like, it's like more and more people are starting to get aware. So we'll say their investigation over the 6th episode takes them all over the world. They'll hit up Hawaii, they'll hit up China, they'll hit up Russia, they'll hit up Egypt, hit up all the hot spots. And then, from time to time we'll bounce around and we'll get hints of a larger plot, like subtle hints from Kit Harington as we learn a little bit about him. I didn't flesh him out a ton because I don't want him to be the big bad. That's gonna be in like a later season. He's just more of a lieutenant in the grand scheme. And so the whole season is going to culminate in like this epic fight between Aurors, including Ron, and Muggles. So you got guns and wands in a big like old factory. Guns and wands. And like a big,
it's like Guns N' Roses, but not.
It'll be in like a big old factory that they've sort of taken over in Pittsburgh. We're it's gonna
City.
Yeah, it's gonna eventually culminate back to the US.
Do we blow up the Three River Stadium or Heinz Field?
No. It's just a big old steel factory.
Okay.
Essentially. That's not being used. And they took it over and they're trying to turn it into like a base of operations. So there's quite a bit of fighting, quite a few people die on both sides. I'm going to say that Adam is actually going to get shot and like to the point of like, oh, you're probably going to die. But like, instead of like the like kiss of life, fade away to death, we're just, cause she's magic, she's just going to heal him cause she's magic. And then, they'll essentially arrest Kit Harington. And like, he'll do the typical bad guy thing of like, as they're carrying away, he'll like smile and get something off. Like, like you have no idea what's coming. Like you're already too late. And like, you'll never be ready. And then we'll end on a somewhat happy, but not note of like, obviously Adam Driver and Teresa Palmer are together. The show will end with like all parties agreeing to essentially keep the line of communication and cooperation open between like the Muggle intelligence agencies and the Wizard agencies for the time being. And Harry is like, I'll give you Teresa on loan to work the case with Adam.
Yeah.
And uncovering whatever the ultimate goal is. And then I think there will be some kind of post-credit scene where it doesn't explain a lot. It doesn't really explain anything. We'll just sort of get like a camera pan and then a large like underground facility full of like crazy tech, but like crazy Muggle tech that's being powered by magic. And then like a hooded figure standing above like just all of it with like a bunch of people working and stuff.
Yeah.
And then that's where we'll cut it. And that'll be my first season of my Auror show.
Okay, dude, I like it. I'm here for it. It's pretty gritty. But if you're going to do a show about the Aurors,
I feel like it has to be a little bit.
Yeah,
like it doesn't have to be
like,
just
be all like bubbles and unicorns and we're Aurors. We're fighting bad guys. Like it.
It can be a little dark, but it also like, that's why like I kind of threw the love story in there. I was like, I mean, I know that it's cliche and probably overdone, but at the same time, like there can be some levity in the show.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine. All right. Well, I guess it's my turn now, right?
Let's hear it.
All right. So, there's a couple things. I did a bunch of research before I came together with my pitch, and there's a couple things. Like I said, what happened in canon is canon, right? But in order for my pitch to work, I have to add something. So the whole thing is about adding. I'm not changing anything. Everybody is going to end up in the positions that they're supposed to be in. So in the books and in the movie, because the movies don't talk about it, when Scrimmer, I can't remember how to say that dude's name. The Minister of Magic before the Voldemort takes.
Oh yeah, no, yeah,
Yeah.
got nothing.
Anyway, they use the Emperor's Curse on Pius Thickines to become, essentially, he's the Minister of Magic, but he's just a figurehead. It's really Umbridge and Voldemort that are running the Ministry at that point in time.
Yeah.
So Kingsley Shacklebolt becomes a prime minister afterwards. In that middle, because Pius Thickines, once he gets rid of the Emperor's Curse, he steps down, and that's when Kingsley Shacklebolt takes over. In order for my pitch to work, that happens, but there's a special election, and there's an interim Minister of Magic during that time. Just because I need Kingsley to still be the head Auror for a little bit before he moves on to become the Minister of Magic. Because he's the head Auror during the whole battle and everything like that. He's the head Auror. So I need him to stay. You're muted, bud.
Whoops. Sorry. Does yours take place like in like the year 2000?
No, it takes place about. Well, I guess it takes place in 2018, based on like what you were saying before.
Okay.
So, but I need, in order to establish credit for what I'm trying to set up later, I need there to be a brief period of time where there's just some douchey interim. It doesn't matter who. I didn't even give him a name. There's just an interim because I need Kingsley to be the head Auror when Harry gets brought in as an Auror. So everybody graduates at the end of Harry Potter 7. They all get honorary degrees. Everybody's happy except for Hermione. Harry immediately enlists in as becoming an Auror, and he works under Kingsley Shacklebolt until such time when Kingsley becomes the Minister of Magic.
Yes.
So that's what happens. That's what I have to add. All right. So we start off, and there's a cop scene there, right? Like there's this big crime scene, and there's Muggle police, and they're all hanging about. And one of the Muggle cops is like, "Hey, I hear that there's some like bigwig coming from like the feds are sending like a special investigator." And they're like, "Yeah, supposedly this is like pretty bad in there. It's weird. I've never seen anything like that before." And the special investigator walks up, and she introduces herself as Special Investigator Siobhan McDowell. And because I get to cast this, I cast Jenna Coleman. So she's all like, "Hey, I'm a Special Investigator Siobhan McDowell. I'm here to check out the crime scene." And they're like, "Yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't let us go in there. It's all like blocked off and whatnot." And she's like, "I don't know. I have to go in there and look." And she walks in, and it's just a whole bunch of dead Muggles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the person's like, and the other inspector's like, "I've never seen anything like this because I can't tell how they died. They all just look like they're scared and terrified, and that's how they died." And she's like, "Yeah, I've seen this kind of stuff before, but you're not going to remember this." And she just pulls out a wand and obliviates them because she's an Auror, and it's just her and these two inspector dudes. And she's like, "But you're not going to remember this. You're going to remember something else happened because they were shot." And she obliviates them and changes their memory. So they're like, "Oh, there's a whole bunch, like it's like a mass shooting or something like that." So she's doing investigating stuff, and she notices there's like a little movement in the background. So then like she like goes to investigate, and there's like this chase scene where she's chasing down this like cloaked figure, and she's like going through like a parking lot, and she has to go through like another building, and then they start like doing the apparation thing where they're like dancing around midair because that's cool when people like seeing that.
Yeah.
So anyway, they land on a roof, and she was like, "I hear this whole time I thought you were just some lousy Muggle detective." And she's like, "No, I'm an Auror." And she pulls out her wand, and "You're going to come with me." And then they have a short whistling battle, and she overpowers him pretty easily. It's just a couple backs and forths, and then she picks him up and is like, "All right, let's go." And then he whispers, "His legacy still lives on." And she's like, what does that even mean, you crazy dark wizard person? Whose legacy lives on? And he's like, "You know what I mean." And he's like, "Okay, whatever." And she slaps the wizard cuffs on him or whatever it is that they use to like
I'm sure they got
people.
wizard cuffs.
Sure.
Why not?
They got sure, yeah.
Why not?
Why not? And anyway, that's the opening.
Just
yeah. She does some sort of Naruto symbol or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
Whatever they do to catch people, I don't know. They don't talk about
magic.
it.
Who knows?
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, I'm sure it suppresses magic or something, so they can't just like slip out. So anyway, she was like, "We're going back to HQ," which is obviously the Minister of Magic. So anyway, that's the opening scene, right? And then we cut away to like, it's kind of like in Hot Fuzz where they're like they talk about like Simon Pegg's character, and they're opening his file and they're showing him do all this stuff and whatnot.
Oh, sure.
So anyway, they're showing this kid, and he's a wonderkin, right? Like he was the Hermione Granger of his year at Hogwarts, because it's 2018, so it's been about almost 20 years since then. And he excelled at everything: potions, defense against the dark arts, herbology, everything. And he got a special commendation right out of Hogwarts because he created a counter spell to the Empress Curse. He's the only person that's ever done anything to counter a unforgivable curse. So he has a counter to it. He crafted a spell. I don't know how you do that. I don't know the idiosyncrasies of
somebody had to. Yeah.
Yes, somebody has to, and I'm surprised that no one in anything has yet. They're just kind of like, yeah, you just get taken over, and we don't know how to stop that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, but he's a wonderkin. Like he's just like aces on everything, right?
Yeah.
And he's also proved to be really powerful, and he wanted to become an Auror. So like he gets top marks, and then you hear the whole thing, and then it's his first day, and he walks up, and he's like, somebody stops him like at the desk and like, "Can I help you, sir?" And he's like, "Oh, by the way, this character's name is Lionel Ashcroft." And Ashcroft.
Oh, Ashcroft.
Not Ashcroft.
Sorry.
Ashcroft.
I'm so sorry. My name's Lionel Ashcroft. It was a change. It used to be Bootycroft. It's a good change.
Ashcroft. Lionel Ashcroft.
Sorry.
And he's played by Finn Wolfhard because I needed a young actor.
Finn Wolfhard.
He's Mike in Stranger Things.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Yeah, the little lanky kid. I wanted a lanky kid, and I wanted a younger actor, and he's the only one I could think of. Sure. So he's played by Finn Wolfhard. And anyway, so like it's his first day of the job. Who's his partner? Siobhan. So he walks up to Siobhan, and like they have a scene because Siobhan, even though she's played by Jenna Coleman, I want her to be kind of like that rough Auror that's she's seen some stuff and she's seen some things and some stuff, and she wouldn't recommend. I've seen some things and some stuff, and she doesn't recommend any of it.
Sure.
And there's this like new upstart, like wonderkin, like I'm gonna make my name right here, and she's just like that gruff, like, oh, okay, we'll see, kid. But she doesn't talk like that.
I know what you're talking about, kid.
I used to have light in my eye too, kids.
I used to be a contender. No. Sorry, go on.
But she's like that, but not exactly like that. She's just a little bit. She's the down to earth character, where like this kid's like the I can do anything kind of character.
Yeah.
So anyway, she's like, all right, well, here, read this case file, whatnot, and do this paperwork for me on this guy that I just caught last night, who's the dude that she caught over there from the beginning thing. And she's like, the boss has called me in. I gotta go upstairs. Talk to the big guy in charge, who's Harry, obviously. So she walks in and she's like, "What do you want, Chief?" Sorry, I just wanted to say that just once. He doesn't call him that. I just wanted to do that just once. And this is the stereotypical cop thing of, "What do you want, Chief?" It didn't work because he thought it was funny. So she doesn't call him that at all. Just say that. That was just for you.
No, that was great. That's great. Thank you.
She goes, "Hello, Harry," or whatever she calls him. I'm sure they might have a nickname. He's
what
like,
up, Potts?
Yeah. He's like, I also mentioned that there's some slight exposition before we get to this whole scene where Kingsley Shacklebolt has announced that he's retiring as Minister of Magic. He's like, "I'm done. I've been doing it for 20 years now almost. I'm an old man. I just want to live life and be happy and retire and leave this all behind me," kind of thing. It's like because I almost feel like Kingsley was kind of like almost forced into becoming Minister of Magic. Yeah. So he was like, this is a position I never really wanted, and I feel like I did a lot of good. I worked with a lot of people, and we've kind of like rebuilt. We essentially had to rebuild British Wizarding Society from the ground up. And he did that essentially. He's just like, "It's time to enjoy the fruits of my labor. I'm retiring."
So
that starts another election because we know that
old for this shit. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm getting too old.
Everybody in this movie is just, or show is just, it's just like,
it's just Lethal Weapon.
It's just Lethal Weapon.
It's not though, but it's Lethal Weapon now.
Is that what you took inspiration from?
No, okay. That just happened to be this way. This is just the first episode.
For context, Tim was like, at some point, you might get where I pulled context from. And I was like, was it Lethal Weapon?
It wasn't Lethal Weapon at all.
What's up, Chief? I'm retiring. I'm getting too old for this shit.
Anyway, in all serious, right? So he's like, I'm retiring as Ministry of Magic. It's time for me to enjoy the fruits of my labor. So that starts a special election, because we all know from Fantastic Beasts that the Wizarding World does hold elections to whoever it's going to be. So Hermione is running, obviously, because she is the one that's going to eventually end up winning. So it really kind of doesn't matter who her opponent is. I didn't even really get into it because it doesn't really have to do a whole lot with my pitch. I thought about trying to do a little side story, but then I was like,
Cho-Chang.
Sure, we can say it's Cho-Chang.
Because she didn't get dumped on hard enough.
Let's just keep dunking on her, right? Anyway.
Cho, man.
So the big deal with this whole thing is that Hermione is running to be the next Minister of Magic. And it's in the midst of her campaign. Obviously, Harry is very pro Hermione. But the controversy surrounding it is that Hermione would, if elected, would be the first non-wizarding born Minister of Magic. It's like, because she has no wizarding blood, she would be the first non-wizarding blood Minister of Magic. So essentially, they're going to elect a Muggle who ended up being a wizard as the Minister of Magic.
Yeah.
So, and there is a group of people that don't like that because that adds up. There would be people that would not like the fact that there would be a Muggle-born Minister of Magic. Even if you tried to destroy the Ministry of Magic like Voldemort did, you still wouldn't want the person to be in there. Their whole thing was, like purification of wizard blood and whatnot. Sure. But anyway, so Kingsley Shacklebolt walks in because he's still the Minister of Magic right now because there's the election going on. He's not just going to be like, I'm retiring today. Peace. He does the Reagan thing or the Nixon thing.
2-hour notice.
He does the Nixon thing and then gets on the helicopter and it flies away. No, he's doing it the right way. He's going to retire. He's going to retire the right way and have a successor before he leaves. So anyway, he walks in and he was like, Siobhan, Harry, get in here. Close the doors, please. He's like, I just want to let you know that I've received intelligence that there is going to be an assassination attempt on Hermione Granger. And because she's running for Minister of Magic, people don't like that. There's been some groups out there that have been really protesting this. Like they're not, bless you if you're going to sneeze. They're not for this. And there's and I don't know who to trust. You, Harry, obviously were my successor as head Auror, and obviously are very close to Hermione. So I know that you're not gonna do anything. You're obviously pro her. And she goes to Siobhan, and this is my story. Siobhan was a student in Harry's year, and she was a Ravenclaw. So, and she did some cool stuff during the Battle of Hogwarts. She's a made-up character, so I can just shoehorn her in whenever I want. Yeah. And that's where I'm going to put her at. She kind of came up the same year as Harry. She had to do a little bit more work to get into the Aurors because, it's Harry Potter and he's the boy who lives. So they're just like, you want to be an Auror? Cool. You can pretty much do whatever you want because you're awesome. And you saved all of the Wizarding World pretty much. Definitely the British Wizarding World, but maybe the whole Wizarding World if you want to look at it. So, hey, you can do whatever you want, man. Here's a key to your Mercedes. I don't know what else to give you. So anyway, he's like, Harry trusts you. So, I know you guys are good, but these people here, who knows who all they've infected with their slanderous lies and their maliciousness and whatnot. So Siobhan's like, well, all right, I have this rookie down here. And he's like, do we know anything about what this attack? And he's like, we don't know very little. All we know is that it's called, the group is called the Dark Legacy. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, and we think that it might be some people out there trying to kill Muggles, essentially, and do what Voldemort tried to do. Like, he's just trying to, like, get rid of the Muggles and whatnot and keep the wizarding race pure. And he's like, oh, okay. Well, we have to stop that, obviously. So then Siobhan's like, okay, well, I got a lot going on right now. But now that you bring up that Dark Legacy thing, some dude I arrested last night mentioned that his legacy continues. And I thought that was really odd. So I'm gonna go investigate that. I'm like, okay, cool. And it's like, well, you have your new partner, so take him along with you, right? And then for the first couple like episodes, it's kind of like this buddy cop thing between Siobhan and Lionel, where like, like he's a rookie, so he's doing dumb things. He's not used to like making mistakes because, like I said, he was a wonderkin in Hogwarts, and it's just Siobhan being like, I'm too old for this shit. No, I'm just kidding. It's just Siobhan being like, yeah, you're a rookie. Just because you're smart, just because you're book smart doesn't mean you're street smart or whatever. Sure. You know what I mean? So the first thing they do is they go and investigate this one dude. And he's just like, they find out he was supposed to go to like some meeting or something. Like I said, I don't have it all written out. These are just major story bits I'm hitting on right here. So they go and like they try to go to this undercover meeting, for this piece called the Dark Legacy. And it turns out that the leader of this group of the Dark Legacy is Nikolai Coster-Waldau. You know who that is?
I think so.
He's Jaime Lannister.
Okay, sure.
Sure. I mean, I just wanted some like white evil douchebag looking like dude, and he kind of fit the bill. So anyway, he's leading this whole thing, and essentially he's talking about like, essentially it's Voldemort stuff all over again. Like the strength of the wizarding blood, and how dare the wizarding community, how dare like the wizarding community even think about like trying to elect a Muggle-born leader as Hermione Granger, like in Hermione and whatnot. And they're like, we need to put a stop to this. We need to do something. And like a battle ensues, and they're chasing him down. And essentially, like it's just the growing relationship between Siobhan and Lionel while they're trying to track down and potentially stop this whole assassination attempt with Hermione.
Excuse me.
So they go to like, there's one scene probably like around episode, because I also do like a 8 or 10 episode arc. So probably like around episode 6 or 7.
So not a 24 episode arc.
There you go. That was my inspiration for this.
I don't know if you noticed, I started like squinting real hard when you started going down the assassination route. I was like, is this are you doing
it's season 1 of 24?
I was like, is this President Palmer right now? Is this the President Palmer arc right now?
Yep, okay. It totally is.
Okay.
But hey, this is what I wanted, and I think it's a good story arc, and it made sense.
No, I'm here for it.
So anyway, she's giving this big and empowered speech at this one thing, and then in the shadows, unbeknownst to Lionel, Siobhan gets the Empress curse put on her, and she gets the direction to assassinate.
Imperious. Sorry.
Imperious curse. Sorry, the Imperious curse put upon her, and she gets the directive to kill Hermione. And like, there's a whole scene where like she's trying to like get around things to try to get closer to like assassinate Hermione, and Lionel's kind of like keeping an eye on her, like, what is she doing? Like, she's being really weird and like very sneakative, and like, she was always really kind of like rude to him, kind of thing, but like he never really like, it's like an extra kind of like weird, right? So she's following her, and right when she pulls out her wand and starts pointing it at Hermione, he uses whatever counter spell he knows to stop the Empress curse, because I wanted that to play off in some way, like, if you're going to put that out there, it has to have a payoff for it. So he uses it to kind of save the day. And then he has to like, Siobhan gets like detained and whatnot, and he has to go and like have her back and whatnot and free her and be like, no. She was under the Empress curse. There's somebody here from the Dark Legacy because I stopped the Empress curse from happening. Like, I did my charm thing to break the Empress curse before she could kill Hermione. And then like they continue following like the little breadcrumbs to like the big battle where like they're like fighting it out on like the dock somewhere. I don't know where.
Sure.
Just like there's a big dock factory. They broke up the whole thing. And they're fighting, and Harry shows up to like back up Siobhan and Lionel, and they have this big drawn out thing. And Lionel gets a like he doesn't use a killing curse, but whatever. Like he uses like Descendo or something whatnot, and he gets flown back and gets like stabbed to the chest or something like that. He gets a fatal wound.
Yeah.
He's a fatal wound, but he doesn't die or anything like that, right? Not immediately, anyway. So like they clear out the battle and whatnot. I don't mean Lionel does. I mean he does it to Jaime Lannister's character. I didn't name him.
Okay.
I didn't name him. So anyway, Jaime Lannister gets he's like impaled on something. He's slowly dying, and he just says like, "You think you cut off the head of the snake, but actually you just cut off the tail." And then he does the very "I'm dead now" thing.
Yeah.
So everybody dies in my scores, by the way.
That's true. I'm dead now. I went to theater school.
The very terrible
Yes.
Dark Knight Rises death.
Yes. I'm dead now.
I'm dead now. I'm out of line, so I guess I'm dead now. Don't look at me. I'm dead now. Anyway, so they're cleaning up. Yeah. They're cleaning up, and they go back to the Ministry of Magic, and Harry's like, he's talking to Lionel, and he's like, "Hey, you did really good work out there, and you protected a really dear friend of mine. I really appreciate all your hard work. I think you're going to be one of my go-to people going forward," or whatever. Some sentimental crap at this point.
Sure.
Because you've grown with Lionel now, and he's not that much of a like snotty-nosed brat or anything like that. So anyway, he's like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna go catch up with Siobhan, see what's going on." And he's walking through looking for her, and he can't find her anywhere. And he goes and like opens up a room, and she's dead on the floor. Somebody used the Abracadabra curse on her. And the whole plot of the second season is who done it and who's the real big boss of the Dark Legacy, because they're still around and they're still a threat to Hermione, even though like at the end we do the whole thing where like that like the news thing's like Hermione Granger is probably going to win the presidential election kind of thing. You know, like, the whole thing, that whole thing. And that's kind of sets up season 2, where like they go off and it's Lionel on his own now. Yeah. Now he's the rugged cop that's seen some stuff and some things and would recommend it.
Yeah.
And he says "damn it" a lot for some reason. I don't know why he picked up that word. He just says "damn it" a lot.
He also has a daughter named Kim.
He has like a side bag now for some reason. And somehow he evolved from Finn Wolfhard to Kiefer Sutherland. I don't know how it works.
It's wild.
It's wild. He had a lot happen in the in-betweens. But that's my pitch for the horror movie.
Look, man,
listen, I know that sounds silly.
No.
I know that sounds silly, but like it legitimately works. I know I laughed a lot. We made a lot of jokes. But if you really think about it, it could work.
No, I think that's really good. I actually really like the idea that she dies.
Well, I wanted to have like that emotional death that Terry has at the end of season 1 of 24, but I was like, there's too much of an age difference for there to be the love interest thing.
Yeah.
So I wanted them to get really close as friends,
40.
like a mentor. Yeah, like she's like a mentor to him.
Yeah, because I think like Harry and
they're in like their mid 30s at this point.
Well, it would be late 30s, early 40s.
Yeah. So like, that's what I figured Jared Coleman would be. By the way, every like Harry, Ron, Hermione, they're all the same actors. I got Danny Radcliffe, Emma Watson. They're all coming back.
Same.
Yeah.
But
they only have brief roles. Like you only see Hermione in the one scene, and Harry's only in there like at the beginning in the final fight.
Mine. Like Harry is in mine like maybe twice. Hermione's in it once, and Ron's in it once.
Yeah, same. Like you see Ron in the background, like that's my baby. Like she's doing good things.
I thought about throwing like I don't know, at some point like maybe someone gets poisoned and they're like, we got to go talk to the best plant guy we know, and then give me an excuse to go to Hogwarts, talk to Neville.
Yeah, I thought about that too, but I wanted to leave it separated from Hogwarts. At least for this first season. If you could do that in season 2 or 3 or whatever you wanted to, you know.
But
I wanted to establish new characters.
Yeah,
which is what I was trying to do with Lionel and the Dark Legacy and all that stuff.
Nice.
So yeah, that's my pitch for the Harry Potter Horror Show. It's essentially season 1 is 24.
Oh man. All right, well, guys,
Which one did you like more?
Which one did you like more? Let us know. Let us know either in
You
the
can
comments.
watch mine right now if you watch season 1.
If you watch season 1 of 24, you can see Tim's right now. Let us know. Leave a review. Leave us 5 stars if you think we earned it. Or leave us 5 stars if you don't. I don't care. Just leave us 5 stars. Like, subscribe, comment.
Join our Discord.
If you're watching on YouTube, join the Discord.
I'm sure there's a link somewhere.
There should be a link somewhere. If you're on YouTube, there'll be a link.
Yeah.
I can't link things to the podcast if you're watching this on Apple
You
Podcast or any of the podcatcher apps. But come hang out in our streams. I'm Cade Starkiller on Twitch.
Purple sunglasses.
And Tim is Purple Sunglasses. We stream somewhat regularly. I tend to stream like 3 times a week.
I try to do at least 2 or 3.
Yeah. So, but join our Discord more than anything.
There's some cool people there.
There's some really cool people. And there is a section for elevator pitch where you can leave suggestions for future pitches. You can.
Somebody left a suggestion that we're actually going to do.
We're going to do very soon. There is also a section for elevator combos where you can let us know your idea. If you have a pitch for an horror show,
if you think our pitches suck,
let us
and
know.
You think you have a better one, Tom?
Yeah, Tom, looking at you, buddy. What you got?
What you got, Tom?
Hit us on the Discord. No, but seriously, let us know if you've got an idea, if you think you would take one of our ideas and tweak it, or if you have anything you want to add, or if you have a full-on pitch yourself. We would love to hear it. So I think that's everything.
It sounds like the elevator is fixed and you can get off it.
Yeah. I heard the ding. So
heard the ding.
Yeah. Until next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.
So look, real talk. This is why we talk, because you did 24
Did you almost do 24?
and I almost did 24.
So when you pitch and you were like, I thought about, and the 24 clock goes up, I was like, my guy.
Yeah.
My guy.
We're sharing a brain cell.
There's only a few of them, but my guy.
Yeah.